Jo from stampingjo.com, and welcome to week 2 of Stamping 411. So this is the second card that uses the stamping kit that I have put together for the month that I'm focusing on. So if you saw the first video or if you looked at the blog post, the kit includes 3 stamp colors. So Blushing Bride, Granny Apple Green, and Shaded Spruce. It includes the Tropical Chic stamp set, and then the matching thinlits that go with it. The 3 colors of cardstocks that match our inks come as a little cardstock pack. So I included that, and then the designer series paper that goes along with it. You can see I've used some of it already. Beautiful colors, beautiful designs. So today's card I'm going to show you is a little bit different. So let's get started. So when it comes to our Whisper White cardstock, there's actually 2 different kinds in the catalog. This is our regular Whisper White cardstock that is a little bit lighter and is more of our normal one that most people purchase. And then we have our thick Whisper White cardstock, which just is a little bit heavier and for scoring is a little bit, not harder, but I just really make sure to score it before I fold it. So I used my Stampin' Trimmer, cut it to 4 1/4, okay? And then with your Stampin' Trimmer, there's 2 blades. So the darker one is the cutting blade, and you can move that out of the way. And then the lighter one is the scoring blade. So it actually has just kind of like a little half ball on the underside, and that is what scores it. There's a couple other great features on this. It actually has, hold on, oh, I'm pulling on the wrong side here. So it has this really great ruler that pulls out, and then on the bottom, there's a little foot that flips out to give it more stability. Okay, so you can see when it's down, it has really nice stability. And the other part I really like is, see how the 6.5 mark actually shows in between the ruler and this part, the platform, I guess we'll call it. Okay, on the back side of this, here is another great feature. It has this little section here that you can put, it actually fits my bone folder. I haven't opened it in a while and I don't even remember. Should practice these things before you're on video. So it fits a bone folder. You can put possibly a snail refill, not the actual snail, and a couple other little trinkets in there. So for this card, we're going to score it at 5.5, which is half of the 11. And you just press it. I do it like 2 or 3 times, and you can see that it creates this little score mark, and then you can fold it. Now, the next thing that I do is I want to reinforce it. So I take my bone folder, because right now, see how it stays open like this? You can actually take your bone folder and give it a nice crisp fold so that it just sits better on the table. So for the card, I cut out 4 pieces of cardstock. So the Whisper White is 1.5 by 3. The Shaded Spruce is 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. Some designer series paper cut to 2.5 by 4 1/4. And Blushing Bride cut to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So we're going to start with stamping a pattern onto our Blushing Bride. So I'm using one of our leaves from that stamp set, and you just want to create a pattern that goes in different directions, and it starts to look like its own designer series paper. So I showed you last week, but I'm going to show you one more time because I absolutely adore this new product that we have. So our Simply Chamois, you just wash it off and it's nice and clean again. Just water on there, and I just stick it under the sink, water, and then I have a little case that I keep it in. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to bring in my layer for my greeting. And for this one, I decided to use the Shaded Spruce ink with the You're the Greatest stamp. So we're going to open up and light stamping and just stamp right on there. Actually, that was really good for straight. So don't forget, if you don't do it straight or if it doesn't work out, cardstock has two sides, just like magic. So we're going to take back our Blushing Bride ink, and just with these little spots, I guess they're supposed to be leaves or something, I'm just going to stamp a little bit on the sides here. So next, to add some texture to the card, I actually took this layer and my paper snips. Now you can do this with the inside of your paper snip, and I just roughed up all of my four edges. It's going to create a little bit of dust on your table, but we can just blow that off. So now that that's done, I'm just going to take my snail and snail it together. It's like a verb now, to snail. So the next thing I want to show you, I didn't get a chance to show you on last week's card, but these framelits are super cool. There's so many different ways that you can use them. So you can actually use just the outside image. You can stamp on it first and then cut it out, or just have it so that your cardstock is flat like this and cut. It has these little cool funky pieces here. So if you use that on its own, then you're just going to have that shape, okay? But these two work together, and that is where it gets super fun. So when you put it through the Big Shot like that, you start to get a shape that looks like this, and it has the inner piece pops out, and then this piece you can use on its own, and you can use the inner piece on another card. So I'm just going to run through my Big Shot and I'll be right back. So what I didn't show you at the beginning is when you're putting things through your Big Shot, especially if you don't want them to move, I actually just use a little bit of washi tape, which comes off, it's low tack, so it comes off really easily. And I just put that on before I run it through the Big Shot, and then it literally comes right off, okay? So here's the pieces. So you have this. And then, where did I lose my piece? Might have popped off when I moved it. Oh, it's still on my Big Shot. Hold on. Doesn't happen all the time, eh? Just when you're on video. All right, here you go. So this is the inner piece, and this is the outside piece. So see how you could use them like independently on a card, or just like this. So super fun, you have the two pieces. So for the next leaf, these two also work together. So we're just going to lie one inside of the other, like that. Okay. And grab a little bit of that washi tape and just put it on so that they stay. So now these two are ready to pop out. And just be careful, sometimes it can get stuck, so you want to make sure that you're not ripping it. And then this inner piece, there is times where it'll be a little bit harder to get out. If that's true, we have the die cut brush, and you can actually put it right onto the mat that comes with it. And see the little holes in the framelit? So it's made so that this die cut brush can go through those holes, and it starts to just poke it out ever so carefully. So to adhere the leaf, I actually used some of our liquid glue, and I used my thicker side just because I find it a little bit easier. So you just push it a little bit so you get a tiny little bit out. And now the first thing, I just want to add it to the stem so that I can put it right behind my layer, like that. Now to put the card together, I actually started with my designer series paper, and there is so many lovely designs in the 6x6 designer paper pack that comes with it. But this one here just went really well with what I was looking for. And so I'm going to start that one right to the edge on the right. And what's fun is this card actually opens up a little bit different than normal. Next, I'm going to use my Blushing Bride, and I'm going to fill the empty space that's left. So I'm going to turn my greeting upside down, and I'm still going to take my liquid glue. The liquid glue is super strong, and so when it's on your card, because this is kind of a thicker, heavier layer, it can pop off, so you just want to be careful if you don't glue it properly. So I'm just going to take ever so slightly and put some on the back. And then when you're ready to adhere it, just going to pop it onto that card and just give it a nice pressure to make sure that it stays. And the good thing about this is it has a little bit of wiggle room. So if you find that you're crooked or you want it slightly different spot, you can kind of move it around a little bit. And you want to be really careful if you're kind of a messy stamper. I am sometimes too. So if you're kind of a messy stamper, just be careful. You might want to put it just with a smaller applicator. I'm going to show you a trick next week actually that is going to help you get that glue onto the back without your messy fingers, if that's how you tend to work. So I've already put some of the mono liquid glue on there, and I'm just going to put that on the very bottom right of my card. So you can see I got a little messy with my glue, so I'm actually going to caution you, don't put your card on it. And so I'm just going to take that and fold it so I can keep reusing it. So for the flowers, I'm going to stamp Blushing Bride on some Whisper White. And then I'm going to take its coordinating framelit and place it on there, and then just add a little bit of my washi tape. Now you may be saying, but we have a magnetic platform for the Big Shot. We do. I just find that sometimes they can move even on the magnetic platform, so I just do this for the extra little care so that it doesn't move. So I have all 3 of my flowers cut out, and this is the last step for the card to make it oh so pretty. So liquid glue again. I do that a little bit because it's got that texture underneath. Otherwise, I'd probably just use snail because it's fast and quick, and definitely the one that I use the most. So we're going to pop that there, put this one over here. Then the third one, I actually used one of our dimensionals. I'm just going to pop that up so that it's 3D, has a really nice layer on top. Put it on top of your 2 flowers, and there you go. So there is still a pretty simple card, but lots of different aspects to it, and it opens like this. Of course, you can stamp on the inside if you want to do a greeting and stamp your envelope. We do have our Whisper White envelopes, and I always suggest to have a coordinating envelope. So let me show you that part. So our envelopes come in packages of 40. They are fantastic. They are made of that nice soft white paper so that they're made to stamp really nicely on them. And you can do a few different things. It's really up to you, but I just love how you can coordinate your envelopes to match your cards. So you can do something in the corner. Some people actually really like to do the flap. So you could stamp that flap to go with it. And then when I do this part, I actually take my paper, stick it on there because I don't want it to be on the bottom part. So then you have a really beautiful matching set. Wouldn't you love to have that come in the mail rather than just a boring old white envelope? So there you go. That's this week's project. Next week, join me on next Friday again for another project in my series for this month. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.